Okay, so if you guys haven't heard yet, Jagex have made an interesting and also slightly controversial announcement regarding an update that is going to be happening on the 12th of May. And it's in this news post here, the roadmap check-in. And about halfway down, they mention game health update, Elder God Wars, Raksha, and Wilderness flash events. So essentially, what is going on here is that they are basically nerfing some bosses, and specifically the amount of alkaballs that these bosses drop. Not just alkaballs though, they're also reducing supply costs, but they are seemingly focusing on alks for the most part. But yeah, supplies will be impacted as well. So we have the Archglacier here, normal mode is getting absolutely eviscerated. It is going down by about 50%. So you'll be losing 50% of your normal mode loot compared to normal, and on hard mode, it does seem they're also doing a 10 to 30% reduction on the amount of drops you get there as well. So basically all of your streaks will now be 10 to 30% less resourceful. Now for some of these things, it makes sense to me. Like, I think we can all agree that Bird's Nests and Banelite Spirits, like those two in particular, yeah, you get way too many of those at Glacier, way more than you could ever possibly need. I wouldn't be surprised that my Iron Man has like 1 million Bird's Nests in the bank just from Glacier. Like, it's a little ridiculous. So, like, that stuff I understand. The rest of it though, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but we'll see how that goes. This does also affect those of you who like AFKing no mechanic Glacier, which we will touch on later. So yeah, any AFKing you do there, your amount of charms is going to go down, so summoning is going to get a bit slower, because yeah, as we know, Glacier is far and away the best charms in the game, just all the time. It does drop quite a large amount, so you know, like, I don't think anyone's really surprised at this one, but you know, it's been out for a few years now, and yeah, I do wish Jagex were a little bit quicker to act. But yeah, the reduction on hard mode though, I don't know if I agree with that one. Like personally, I am of the opinion that if you're AFKing a boss, well, you kind of shouldn't be able to unless it's a very, very weak boss. So you can't AFK hard mode. I feel like it doesn't deserve this reduction, personally. So, but yeah, we'll see how that lands. Anyway, let's move on to some of the other ones. I got Carapac now as well. So normal mode, the quantity of common drops has been reduced by 30 to 35%. So that is a big hit as well. And hard mode is being reduced by about 8 to 10%. Now, like, once again, hard mode, you know, like, it's hard. Like, it does drop a decent amount of commons, but like, you cannot just like breeze your way through hard mode. So yeah, personally, these bosses that really require quite a lot of effort to kill, which I would argue that Carapac hard mode does. I'm not a fan of nerfs, I've got to say, I'm not a fan. And now we have the big old Zimzam, Zamorak himself. He's getting probably the biggest nerf hammer on this one. Killing Zamorak, his drops are being reduced by 50 to 60%. Now, that is an absolute gargantuan number, as we all know, but if you have done Zami, and I assume a fair few of you have, but I've done a lot of Zami at, you know, high end rage as well, like 2000% plus when I was pushing to 4k and stuff like that. Getting 17 mil per kill in commons is probably a little bit overboard. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a kill of Zamorak right now drops more in common drops than every single other boss in the game combined. Like, if you kill one Zamorak and you kill one of every other boss, I feel like Zami still drops more stuff. So yeah, Zamorak, I don't think anyone is overly surprised about in terms of there actually being a nerf. The timeline on it, you know, like, if it's this big an issue that it's got to be nerfed by 50%, maybe it should have been done a little bit earlier, you know? Maybe it should have been done earlier. There's also a Zami Undercity nerf as well. 50% reduction on salvage drops specifically. Sometimes, you know, when killing Cerberus, for example, for Slayer, you did get a really juicy salvage drop, over a million coins worth, just like that, which, you know, you could argue maybe was a bit much. But yeah, that's kind of whatever. But yeah, like honestly, I feel like Zami has kind of had it coming for a long time. So that one, that's okay. Wildy Flash events being taken down as well. Reduction in salvage and bones, ashes, magic logs, and criminal bolts as well. So this time they are targeting some skilling related things as well, because yeah, the idea of this thing is they want to drive the prices up, and they also want to give you less alchables. So yeah, Necronium Salvage and Orichalcum is going... Sorry, Necronium Salvage is being replaced with Orichalcum. But in return, they're actually improving the drop chance here, interestingly, of the Dark Onyx Core weapons and brawlers. So that should mean you get even less of the common drops, technically, but you get more of the cool stuff, which is quite nice. And they have mentioned that possibly the other bosses are getting a little bit of that as well. So there's a good chance that the Frozen Core of Langan becomes a bit more common as well. And then we have a bit of a strange one. We have Raksha coming in here as well, where it's Spirit Weeds and Dragon Fruits are being replaced with Arbok and Siku Seeds. So that's okay, you know, that's a nice change. I think everyone's got too many Spirit Weeds from Glacier anyway. But then this one's a little strange. They are reducing the quantity of salvage from Raksha and reducing the quantity of commons from Raksha. And yeah, Raksha is not generally known as a boss that has very good commons. So this one I am quite surprised about. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they know something I don't, but whenever I've done Raksha, I've really not been overly impressed by the commons, so I am surprised on the nerf there. And also nerfing Zuck minions, which yeah, maybe that targets the wave 4 farmers, who knows. But yeah, so that's what they want to do, and they claim that will improve game health, which just below it they now have an advertisement for double XP week as well. That's really great timing on that one. So yeah, the question is this the solution to the problem that they say exists? I would argue no. I would very much argue no. Like, that they want skillers to make more money, they want PVMers to stop bringing in so many resources, but I think we should be tackling the other end of the scale. So let's have a look in here. This right here is World 84 Fort for N3, and as you can see, there are lots of people skilling over here, but most importantly, there are a few things dotted around, specifically the dummies. You know, people are out here training, you know, archaeology, agility, thieving, like hunter, what have you. Like, these people are using a treasure hunter item to train their skills to circumvent the fact, or circumvent the aspect of buying skilling supplies from other players. So if it is a problem that these items are so cheap on the Grand Exchange, why are we giving away so much free XP? Because if you think about it, every dummy, or let's just use a protein plank as an example. Every protein plank that is won on Treasure Hunter, that is now one plank that does not have to be purchased and consumed by a player. And the amount of proteins coming into the game, I can only assume is just gargantuan. Like, if you guys look in your banks, if you do your Treasure Hunter, like, dailies, you know, you do your daily challenges, get extra keys, like, how many proteins, and even just, like, XP lamps and dummies have you got saved up over all this time? Because on my main account, I have got, you know, thousands, tens of thousands even. Like, if I needed to gain some XP, like, I wouldn't even need to go and buy some resources on the Grand Exchange. Like, it just would not be necessary. Like, the game just gives it to me all for free, which I think is a little bit insane, to be honest. Like, I feel like this has been a problem for a while. Like, I personally believe the reason, you know, certain resources are as cheap as they are is because people get given so much stuff for free, and then they don't have to buy the resource in the first place. So if no one's then buying the resource, then the price goes down. And then Jagex is like, oh no, look, the prices have gone down. This is a big problem. It must be the bosses at fault. No, it's not. It's just, you know, they always turn a blind eye to the actual problem, which I firmly believe is, you know, like, I mean, everyone knows it, right? Like, it's Treasure Hunter and all the free XP that gets handed out. Like, what we need, like, is just a reason to consume these resources. Like, you could have Treasure Hunter, like, instead of giving XP lamps, like, if it has to do something, it could just give bonus XP. You know, then at least people have to consume the resources. Like, dummies can just be got rid of completely, or maybe you could have it, like, you charge up the dummies with some supplies. Like, you know, if they have to exist, you know, charge up this, you know, archaeology dummy with a couple of 100 archaeology materials, and then bam, you know, suddenly we're actually, you know, taking items out of the economy, the demand goes up, and therefore the price goes up. Like, that's kind of what they want. So yeah, if Treasure Hunter has to exist, which, I mean, obviously, like, we kind of all know that unfortunately it has to, like, you can't pretend that you're making these updates in good faith for the health of the game. Like, you just can't do that. Like, the amount of XP that gets given out is just absolutely absurd. Like, the amount of proteins that mean you don't have to buy a resource. Like, it's insane. Absolutely insane. And then that coupled with the fact, which on that news post there, it showed that double XP was coming soon as well. You know, that means on double XP, everyone gets twice as much XP, which means you have to use half as many resources. So right there, instantly, those resources that would have been consumed are slashed in half. There are now half as many that need to be used or are going to be used. This is especially prevalent for kind of like the double XP skills, as it were. Like, nobody trains summoning off of double XP, right? Like, no one trains herblore off of double XP. So you know, double XPs are so frequent that, like, why would you? You know, it's like, oh man, I just missed a double XP. Oh, don't worry, there's another one in 2 months. Like, there are so many resources that should be being used, but just the frequency of these events and everything is just so much. Like, even, you know, like these currency events, like, people trade them in for those, like, they get the tokens, they trade them in for the boxes. What do you get from the boxes? Oh, look, you get proteins and XP and everything. So, like, everyone is being fast-tracked in such a way that they're using as little supplies that other people have obtained from bossing as possible. Like, I think it's just crazy. And on the topic of bossing as well, I've got another bone to pick. I think a big problem is the fact that so many bosses nowadays have become AFKable. Like, the player is so powerful, so insanely powerful, with so much healing combined with Revolution++. Like, you can AFK half the bosses in the game. You can AFK God Wars 2, you can AFK Glacier, you can AFK Karapak normal mode. People have even found a way to AFK Raziel, and he drops, you know, best in slot for Necromancy, tier 95, and you can AFK him with the right strat. Like, that to me is a massive problem. Because, like, you see people out there, they've got ult accounts, you know, there's like 5 or 10 or even like 20 ult accounts, like AFKing God Wars 2 or something like that. Like, how many supplies are those guys bringing in? How many supplies is everyone bringing in who's AFKing bosses? So I would argue the thing to cut down on, if it's all possible, I mean, it would be quite a big project, is the ability to AFK bosses, whether that be like the removal potentially of Revo++, because that is causing a massive problem, I would say, and bringing so many supplies into the game and crashing down their price. Like, obviously, you know, nothing is solely at fault. It's a myriad of factors, but yeah, like, all this at once, it's just too much. Like, there is too much AFKing bosses. There is too many, probably even AFKing Slayer mobs, to be honest. There's too much free XP. There's too little resources being used. And something has got to be done about it. But I feel like targeting the bosses themselves is not the way to go. I feel like it. I feel like it should be the way that people are killing bosses. And yeah, I think that's a big problem. The way they're killing the bosses, and also the amount of XP that gets given out. And the thing is as well, like, there are so many supplies in the game, and you have the perfect skill, invention, to use these supplies. Like, if they wanted to, I'm sure they could think of some cool items. You know, hey, this item requires 1,000 bird's nests. What does it do? Don't know, but you know, like that you could make useful items with invention with all these supplies that appear to be in excess, and suddenly they wouldn't be so excess anymore because they're actually useful. Like, you could make, you know, a potion or a soup out of bird's nest. You know, it could be a cooking thing or a herblore thing. Obviously Saradomin and Brews already use bird's nest, but you know, like a different one. Like, there are lots of things they could do, but instead, the one thing they've gone for is like, hey guys, you know this boss that you've been killing for the past, 4 years? Well, now, when you kill it, you're just going to get 30% less loot. Like, people are not going to be happy with that kind of solution, I don't think. Like, it's going to sting a bit. Like, I mean, obviously we're going to get through it, it's going to be fine, but like, I just really think they are targeting the wrong things here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. That's just a bit of a ramble. It's been on for nearly 17 minutes apparently. So I'm sorry if I probably could have kept it a bit briefer. But, hopefully you've enjoyed the folk music that's been playing in the background, and that guy in purple dancing, and then all these people doing dummies and proteins and whatever the hell else. But yeah, let me know if you agree with anything that I've said. Hopefully this has been some good second or even third monitor content. And yeah, May the 12th. Well, it's not quite Doomsday, but it's going to change the game. But maybe not for the better. Either way, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.